Hello, my name is Colin O'Brien. Welcome to my Breaches That Made Headlines YouTube video. I'm going to start out with outlining the 3 data breaches that I found, and then I'm going to provide my textbook connections and tie everything into the 2 categories, and then outline the external sources, those 2 external sources. So the first data breach that I found is the Microsoft Midnight Blizzard attack. It was an attack detected by the Microsoft security team on January 12th, 2024. It wasn't until January 19th when the team detected this attack on their corporate email systems, and they immediately activated the response process. The Microsoft Threat Intelligence Investigation identified the threat actor as Midnight Blizzard, which is a Russian state-sponsored actor, also known as Nobelium. Microsoft has seen evidence that Midnight Blizzard is using information initially exfiltrated from the corporate systems to gain or attempt to gain unauthorized access. Although no evidence has been found yet that the Microsoft-hosted customer-facing systems have been compromised. This is still considered an ongoing attack, and Microsoft is reporting a sustained significant commitment of Midnight Blizzard's resources, coordination, and focus. It is believed that Midnight Blizzard is using the information it has obtained to accumulate a picture of areas to attack and enhance its ability to do so. So, not looking great. But hopefully they've got it all under control. So next is the NVIDIA hack from 2022. So in 2022, NVIDIA confirmed that it was hacked and that the actor behind this hack was leaking employee credentials and proprietary information, onto the internet. Data belonging to 71,335 employees was leaked. After the company became aware of the breach, they stated that they did not anticipate any disruption of their business or their ability to service their customers as a result of the incident. It's the hacking group Lapsus, I'm not really sure how it's pronounced. There's a $sign at the end, make it a little fancy. Claimed responsibility for the attack and demanded that NVIDIA make its drivers open source if it doesn't want more data leaked. There was speculation that ransomware was involved and the attack could be linked to the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. However, NVIDIA said that there was no evidence of either of these things being true. Now, this one is especially interesting to me because it's like a, not a hostage situation, but there's a big threat about if they don't get what they want, then things are just going to get worse. So I thought that was kind of an interesting difference between some of these other ones that I'm talking about. Next is a Tesla customer information expose. Not really an expose, but a big leak of customer information and some employee information too. In 2023, Tesla experienced a data breach that impacted roughly 75,000 people, but is believed to be the result of a whistleblower rather than a malicious cyber attack. So there's another interesting perspective that it's somebody within the company. Tesla said that a group of former employees misappropriated the information in violation of Tesla's IT security and data protection policies. The leak came to light in May 2023 when Handelsblatt, a German media outlet, reported that it had received 100 gigabytes of confidential Tesla data from a whistleblower. The leaked files reportedly included information of current and former employees, such as customer bank details, production secrets, and customer complaints regarding driver assistance systems. And Handelsblatt has assured Tesla that it does not intend to publish the personal data provided by the whistleblower. Tesla has filed lawsuits against the employees responsible for the data breach. So now to get into systems design is one of the topics that I picked. I'm going to relate that to a couple of the textbooks here and then one of those sources. So something from Ethics and Information Technology. This is from page 86 on the digital version. I'm not sure if the pages all line up. Is the concept of the prevalence of computer incidents due to rapidly increasing extraneous variables. So that because the tech world is rapidly changing and all these new things are coming up, there's always something new. Always something new you got to protect against. Always something new you're protecting. It's getting to be a more and more technically impossible, not technically impossible, but technically difficult task to complete. So these few things, I think there's 5 here, that have been laid out in this book, are the increasing computing complexity, expanding and changing systems, increase in the prevalence of bring your own device or BYOD policies, which is that instead of having these stationary computers in offices that are all locked into one local network, everybody's bringing their own laptop, or they have laptops and devices that are operating on internet connections that are connected to the World Wide Web as well, that are much easier to hack and get into than all these old systems that were just locked into one system. You think about like government systems still today, that will still just use those local networks and those old computers from, the 70s and 80s because it's just secure. Next one is a growing reliance on software with known vulnerabilities. And then increasing sophistication of those who do harm have caused a dramatic increase in the number, variety, and severity of security incidents. And I noted here that this kind of reminds me of when people used to jailbreak their iPhones. And, Apple would issue an update to their iPhones that you couldn't jailbreak anymore. And then, a day or two later, people were posting YouTube, new jailbreak, you can do it again. Because, the hackers are getting more and more sophisticated. So it's kind of an interesting, you patch something, you fix something, and then all of a sudden you have people that you're giving bait to, so they get more sophisticated and just goes up and up and up and up. Although I haven't heard about jailbreaking recently, so maybe it's just not middle school anymore, or maybe it's just not a thing anymore. But what can organizations do? Here's one of my outside sources. It's from Imprivata, I believe, is the site. And they give a list of 5 things that organizations can do in order to prevent these data breaches and these attacks. So here's the 5 things. The first one is conduct frequent security audits, which allow organizations to proactively identify and mitigate potential threats. Keep software current with timely updates, including security fixes, like Microsoft's February 13th update, which addressed Exchange server vulnerabilities. Implement user education and training to help reduce unauthorized access by helping employees recognize phishing attempts, avoid malicious links, and safeguard privileged credentials. Which in an ideal world, you could just send out an email and tell your customers not to look at these types of things, not to fall for these types of things. But I think that one's a bit of a stretch because you're relying on the competence of users, which you shouldn't always presume, I suppose. Next one is collaborate with government security agencies to improve threat intelligence, leading to more resilient cybersecurity. Partner with cybersecurity experts who offer services that let you level up the ability to manage under IT skill gaps and resource constraints. I wrote that one kind of weird. So I think this is a nice little list. There's some issues. The collaborate with government security agencies, I feel like, is you have to be a very special company in order for the government to want to get in on the action with your security. I don't see why the government would get in with like a small startup. You can't just send the CIA an email and say, hey, we want some help with our programs here. So, but I think that there are some other good things here. The frequent security audits, of course, keeping your software current with updates, obviously, which I was talking about just with the jailbreaking stuff. That's what Apple did. So with Race After Technology, it was a little difficult to connect this textbook to these ideas here, since they're very specific and concrete ideas and don't really deal with the concepts that Benjamin focuses on. But one thing, there was a section, the Fixing Diversity section, where she mentions HIPAA, or the U.S. Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. And she mentions that the collection, storage, and communication of individuals' protected health information is strictly monitored. She then goes on to say that pharmaceutical companies, which market to different groups, need indirect methods to create customer profiles because they cannot collect racial, ethnic data directly. This made me think about the idea that maybe some of these companies need to really take a step back and think about the type of data they're collecting, and that it can be a liability to directly collect certain types of data, as data breaches are increasingly common. So maybe if something, you're constantly getting all this banking information stored, maybe store it a little differently. Don't store it at all. Find a different way. I'm not really sure how you go about with that. Maybe they'll take my advice and they can figure out the rest. That'd be nice. Kizza makes an interesting point about how our fundamental right to privacy is often violated by ourselves and others in mostly mundane ways. He gives a list of 5 here. Consumers willingly give up information about themselves when they register at websites, at shopping malls to win prizes, and in mailing solicitations. Consumers lack the knowledge of how what they consider a little bit of information can turn into a big invasion of privacy. Inadequate privacy policies. Failure of companies and institutions to follow their own privacy policies, which that one, of course, is where we get into a lot of these issues and distrust of companies. Internet temptation that enables business to reach individuals in a very short time in the privacy of their homes and offices. So this was an interesting thing to read. It's one of the more recent sections that we've read, our weekly readings. And it's, I don't know, it makes you realize where he was talking about the shopping malls win prizes. You're giving your information, you're giving your email, your address, all this stuff. And you're not really thinking about somebody could come by and take that information pretty easily. Mailing solicitations, you're sending something in the mail, that can be intercepted. It just tied in with the, which one was it? consumers lack the knowledge of how what they consider a little bit of information can turn into a big private invasion of privacy, which that one, you're given a little bit in these mailing solicitations, these prize sweepstakes, and gets intercepted. It's a big deal, and you don't even realize it at the time. Next, the ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union, this is my other external source, has a page about privacy and technology that shares a couple things that many people are not aware of. As far as I can tell, I was not aware of these things. So maybe other people are, and I'm just left out here, living under a rock. But the federal law protecting electronic information was passed in 1986, making it older than the World Wide Web. I didn't do much research on the extent to which your electronic information is protected. And I haven't really heard much of this with all these lawsuits with TikTok and Facebook and all these things. You don't hear much about the 1986 federal law, so I'm not sure it's really as dramatic as the ACLU was making it sound. But I don't want to speak out of turn. But the government argues that the Fourth Amendment, which protects people from unreasonable searches and seizures by the government, protects information that you keep in your desk, your physical desk, but not information that you keep online, like old emails or pictures. And we're seeing a lot of issues with this, of course. A lot of arguments for and against the protection of all this online data, this digital data. Then this last point that the ACLU gives on their kind of quick points about digital privacy and tech privacy. In order to carry out mass surveillance, the NSA has weakened the security of the communication systems that we all rely on. So that is something that kind of, feels like a stab in the heart from the government, as most things do. But, weakening the security in order to provide us with less privacy, and then the little bit of privacy that was there, or that it is still there, can be violated and has more information about us. I'm not really sure I worded that greatly, but it's not a nice thought. But it seems that there's a bit of chaos as our civil liberties and rights pertain to our technology privacy, though it seems that the grounds have also been laid for progress to occur. So that's the future that me and my peers are going to have to head in, that the tech world's going to have to head in. Thank you very much.